Hey there, checking in.
All right.
We have a reservation for a 50 amp site.
Okay, just need a driver's license.
Paid a little extra for a 50 amp site here, the Verde Valley 1000 Trails. And we'll explain why later.
Take this right.
Beautiful view. This view that we have at Verde Valley is the kind of view that RV manufacturers put fake in their pictures out the windows to make it look like your RV is somewhere beautiful. So if you're a 1000 Trails member and you are wintering in Arizona, at some point you are going to find yourself at Verde Valley 1000 Trails Campground. It's just south of Sedona in Cottonwood, and it's up in the mountains a little bit, so it's not as warm as Phoenix or Tucson, but you'll probably have to end up here because you'll have to be out of the Encore system for 7 days. So here's some tips if you're going to stay here. The first thing to know is the internet here is abysmal, and I had heard that from other YouTubers before, so I was prepared once we got here. But even with our beefy antenna and setup for Wi-Fi, we are getting very slow speeds. We can still work, but Zoom is a little sketchy. If you come on a free 1000 Trails reservation, they will put you in a 30 amp site and probably farther down in the valley in the older sections. But you can reserve ahead of time for a 50 amp site in the newer sections up here on top of the hill. And I guess they have some 50 amp sites scattered throughout the park, but all of the new sites up here at the top of the hill are 50 amp, and you have to pay extra for them. They are between $3 to $10 per night extra for the 50 amp, and we are paying $7.50 a night here. But we thought it was well worth it because up at the top of the hill, the signal is a tiny bit better. It's not screaming by any means, but at least we can get our work done. And there is some paid Wi-Fi here at the campground, but we don't know how fast it is because we haven't paid to use it. But they do have a paid service available if you need it. Also, no laundry room here, and they charge $2 per package for you to receive mail here. The site that we have paid for is in the M section, which is right on the other side of the entrance gate, and the view here is beautiful. We're right at the top of the valley and we can see all the mountains. It's gorgeous. So if you want to make a reservation for those 50 amp sites, I think you want to do it with the campground directly. Now, we had already made our regular 1000 Trails free reservation when we found this out. So after that, we called the campground office directly to book the 50 amp site. They will give you a rundown of which sites are available and how much they cost. Now, if you go on the 1000 Trails website and look at the campground map, it's not going to tell you those details, but I'll show you right here on my paper copy. It shows you the color code of the price and where the site is. And again, we're in section M. So the Sedona and Flagstaff area, of course, is beautiful, and we're excited about exploring here, and we're also going to do a day trip to the Grand Canyon. So it's a good jumping off point for exploring and seeing the northern part of Arizona. Just wanted to give you a little heads up if you're a 1000 Trails member and you find yourself at Verde Valley. So we decided at the last minute this morning that we might as well head up to the Grand Canyon. We were going to go tomorrow. It's about 2.5 hours from our campground at Verde Valley. And our plan was that today we were going to do some national monuments that were closer to the campground. And then tomorrow go up to the Grand Canyon and get our America the Beautiful National Park Pass. Well, then we realized that the National Park Pass will also get us into the national monuments that we wanted to go to, which are like $15 per person. So if we had to pay that, we would probably not bother. But once we found out they were part of the National Park Pass, we thought it would be worth it. So then we went online to buy our passes for today, and I found out that if you buy your pass online, you have to wait for it to come in the mail. You cannot download it or use it immediately. But if you buy your National Park Pass at a national park, like at the Grand Canyon, you get a physical card right there and you can use it immediately. So this morning about 10:30, we said, quick, let's go up to the Grand Canyon so we can get our pass, and then we can do all the national monuments tomorrow.
And we wanted to go to the Grand Canyon.
Of course we wanted to go to the Grand Canyon anyway.
Fun.
So on our way to the canyon, we are going to stop here in the little town of Tusayan to do a very special geocache. We have been traveling with these little travel bugs since we started RVing so that we can drop them off in unique places of geocaches. And what better unique place to drop it than at the Grand Canyon? Well, I found a cache that's labeled as a travel bug hotel. So this is a place where people purposely bring their travel bugs to exchange and drop off, because this is a hugely trafficked area at a famous monument, and lots of people come through here. So let's see if we can find it, and maybe we'll pick up a travel bug and take it on with us.
Yeah, it's kind of this way.
All right. It is mid-December, but we were not quite expecting as much snow as there is up here. I know we're what, like 6,000 or 7,000 feet of elevation up here, and when we were driving up, we could see the snow on the mountains. But this is really different for us, walking through snow.
My stuff is very accurate.
Jason says he found it.
I found it. But
I haven't seen it yet. Oh, I see it.
Good size one.
Big one.
Nice.
Fun.
Collection of things in there. Let's see if there's any trackers in here. Decided to put your little card on this.
I put my little Circuit Run RV card on the travel bug. I happen to have one in my pocket. And we did find one trackable in here. We're going to take this one from Proxy Traveler. The back of it says, please drop it in rural or premium member only caches. Don't drop it in urban or event caches.
And that's the number if anyone wants to track that one.
Yeah.
Oh, and here's the number of this one.
1J6WMA. Okay.
How covered up you want it to be.
I'll leave a little bit showing like it was.
Yeah.
That's good.
It was a little too showing, I thought.
Maybe.
When I saw it. I'm gonna log it.
Log the geocache. So we're not planning to spend a whole bunch of time at the Grand Canyon. We'll be there for about 2 or 3 hours this afternoon, but really our goal is just to go and see it. We want to visit this iconic, beautiful place, and it was sort of nearby our campground, so we figured why not. And RVers, you know, this is kind of on the RV bucket list of things to do. But this might be a good example for you if you're just looking to do a partial day trip to the Grand Canyon. You don't want to do lots of big hikes or tours or ride the donkeys to the bottom or anything. Let's see what we can get in a few hours. So right across the parking lot from the geocache is the Grand Canyon Visitor Center that's in the town before you actually get to the park. So we ran in here quick so that we could get our America the Beautiful pass. Now we can get into all of the national parks and monuments, and I think there's over 2,000 sites that we can get into with this card. Only $80 a year, well worth it. We are probably going to surpass that in this weekend alone. Yeah. So that's great. Let's make sure we get them
It's probably still warm.
Just bought it.
Thanks.
So when you park at the Visitor Center at the Grand Canyon, there's a short little hike called the Mather Point Walk. It's actually just a little paved trail, and it's the closest place that you can see a good view of the canyon just at the Visitor Center. So that's your shortest guaranteed drive to the Visitor Center, see the quick view. And then I think we're going to walk down to the center anyway because there's some shuttle buses, and there's a 50-minute round trip shuttle bus on the orange line that the guy at the front gate recommended to us. So we might just take a little bus ride.
That is fairly impressive.
Wow.
For the folks like, it's just a Grand Canyon. It's not too bad.
Who would think that? Well, we saw it. It was breathtaking and beautiful. I said to Jason, it's a little bit of the Niagara Falls effect. The first time you see Niagara Falls, it's kind of like, oh wow, I didn't realize it was going to be this big.
This is bigger than
how I
Niagara
feel
Falls.
here. It's way bigger than Niagara Falls, but it gave me that same kind of feeling on the first seeing of it. Just that, oh, I didn't know.
An awesome scale in the old sense of the word awesome.
Yeah.
And the new sense too.
So we've walked over to the visitors center, and there's a little marketplace here with several buildings and shops, and you can get the shuttle buses here. So we're going to explore here for a minute before we head on to the orange shuttle bus. Surprised they haven't put salt down on this ice. It's kind of treacherous.
That's something there. This is where we are right now.
Yeah.
Here for the sunset too. Like we'll have options.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That's helpful actually.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. You can just park here. So while we were on the shuttle bus, the driver mentioned something called the Desert View Drive to Desert View Point. So we looked it up on the map, and it's about a 15-minute drive from the visitor center. We are 40 minutes away from sunset, so we quick rode the bus back around to the visitor center and hopped off. We're gonna try to get in the car and make this drive before sunset.
I love that guy put this in four-wheel drive. He said like 1% of the time.
They told us
But for that 1% of the time,
you need it.
it's awfully nice. Even when you don't absolutely need it, but you want it, like, I think I'd like that right now. This is a great use case for that.